Hey guys, before today's video, I have something exciting to announce. I have started to make shirts. They are available for sale now. Initially, I have two designs. The first one is this one I'm wearing, the Shelby GT350R. And the second one is this one, the Lamborghini Aventador SV. It's got my logo on the back right there. I chose a pretty good quality shirt. I didn't want to sell something that I wouldn't personally want to own and wear. I'm very, very happy with how they turned out. Really excited about them. I will include the link to purchase them below. There's a website. Also, if you have any suggestions or requests of cars you'd like to see, designs, send me a message or comment below. Constantly working on new ones. Thanks, guys. Let's talk about car news of the week, starting with Land Rover. There is a new high horsepower Range Rover. It has quite a long name. The full name is the Land Rover Range Rover Velar SV Autobiography Dynamic Edition, which it's so many words. I don't know why they didn't just call it the Range Rover Velar SVR. I mean, there's other SVR models, but it gets the same 5-liter supercharged V8 you would find in an F-Pace SVR, the Range Rover Sport SVR, 550 horsepower, 502 pound-feet of torque. It'll get the Velar to 60 in 4.3 seconds, up to a top speed of 170 miles an hour. It is only being sold as a 1-year model though, 2020. I don't think it's going to be limited, but it's only going to be around for 1 year. Same 8-speed automatic transmission, the all-wheel drive system. You get larger wheels. I believe they're 21 as standard, upgraded brakes. It's got changes to the front fascia, the bumper. It's larger intakes, a little more aggressive. You got quad exhaust tips out back, but it's not so. It's still pretty subtle and refined. It's not over the top aggressive like you would find in an F-Pace SVR or the Range Rover Sport SVR. Maybe that's why it didn't get the full SVR name. And also, pricing-wise, it'll probably sit somewhere in between the F-Pace SVR and the Sport SVR. The F-Pace is right around, I think, $81,000, and then the full-out Range Rover Sport SVR is 115 grand, so maybe somewhere in there towards the higher end, because a fully loaded Velar with like the P380, like the top-end trim R Dynamic, I think gets close to like $75,000 to almost $80,000. So it won't be cheap. 1 year, I think it looks amazing. The Velar is one of my favorite looking SUVs out there right now, and you stick a 500 horsepower V8, who's going to complain about that? It also seems like Land Rover is giving us a special edition car and then taking away some of them. Remember that Range Rover SV Coupe, the two-door ultra luxury $300,000 Range Rover? That's been canceled. Not a single one was built. Also, the Discovery SVX, also was like 500 horsepower, has been canceled. Not a single one was built. Land Rover is struggling for money now. They just announced they lost a lot of money last year. They're cutting some things, and I guess some of these special editions aren't making it. But again, they're introducing this new Velar SVR Dynamic, which I mean probably wasn't that difficult to do given the sharing of everything with the F-Pace SVR and the same powertrain. But I'm just happy there's another 500 plus horsepower Land Rover out there. It's pretty cool. Next up, we have the special new edition Bugatti Chiron. It's called the 110 Ans Bugatti, which I don't speak French, but it means 110 years of Bugatti. A lot of people might forget that Bugatti is actually a French company. Even though they're owned by VAG now, a German company, it is started off as a French company. And this is a special edition Chiron to commemorate, obviously, 110 years of Bugatti being around. It's based off the sport model, so the upgraded one they recently released. Allegedly, a while back, they said they weren't going to do special edition Chiron, so clearly they've gone back on that. There were countless special edition Veyrons over that 10-year run. This is going to cost a lot. A regular Chiron Sport starts at $3.3 million, I think. This has the sky view thing, which is essentially just 2 panes of glass on the roof for you to see the sky. Self-explanatory name. It's going to be at least, my guess is $4 million. It's got really cool touches like the French flag, the tricolore flag on the mirrors, on the entire underside of the gigantic active rear wing is all the French flag. It's this crazy cool like blue steel carbon color. I forget the exact name of what they call it, but it's on the front it's exposed carbon, on the rear with like the scoops on the back it's painted this matte finish. There's some gloss like blue carbon on it. Everything else is matte black with the badges, the exhaust, and the wheels. It's a Bugatti Chiron. Like, it's crazy. It's another special edition one. They're building 20 of these. They're going to command a crazy premium price. Interior is like this dark blue leather suede with the French racing blue, like the Riviera blue, brighter blue accents. It's got the 110 Ans Bugatti thing embroidered on the headrest. It's very cool. I just got to see a Chiron last week at the Chicago Auto Show in person. They're amazing how the carbon fiber weave all lines up. The gigantic quad turbo W16 out back. It's obviously one of the fastest cars in the world. and one of the most expensive. So it was pretty cool seeing their special edition get launched. Next up, we have some news involving BMWs. Technically, we're going to talk about the Alpina B7 first, which is based off of the 7 Series. So the 7 Series just got a life cycle impulse, which is what BMW calls their mid-cycle refresh. They updated it, changed the powertrain, some interior changes, styling changes. The styling changes are very apparent. The new kidney grills per BMW, they announced it's 40% larger, and they are gigantic. They're almost comically large. When I first saw the leaked image, I was like, no, it doesn't look like that. I mean, they're like the size of an X7. An X7's a huge SUV, so it's okay. But they're massive, which apparently, I guess, to BMW, large kidney grills up front equals majesty and luxury, and I don't know. They're huge. Alpina did their typical styling updates to kind of change the car up. I think it improves it, honestly. They've got a more aggressive front splitter. It's got the signature Alpina wheels that have a million spokes, which look really good, but also look like they would be an absolute nightmare to keep clean. Quad exhaust tips out back, the car's lowered slightly. I think the Alpina version looks a lot better than the normal 7 Series that just came out. Big news of Alpina is they always improve the powertrain. So it makes 600 horsepower out of that 4.4 liter twin turbo V8 found in the 7 Series. 600 horsepower also propels this thing to 60 in 3.5 seconds, which is faster than the M760Li, the V12 BMW 7 Series. That thing, I think, does 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. But the biggest news is this is now apparently the world's fastest sedan. It took it away from the Charger Hellcat. Charger Hellcat was supposed to do 204 miles per hour top speed, and the Alpina B7 will do 205 miles an hour. The Charger Hellcat is like, what, 70 grand? The Alpina B7 is 140 grand. So for double the price, you get 1 more mile per hour. Obviously, there are more things other than that, but it was funny they were touting that over 200 mile an hour giant luxury sedan. It's kind of impressive, though. But I also, if you talk about value standpoint, the CT6V with that 4.2 liter twin turbo Blackwing V8 will do 200 miles an hour. That's only 90 grand. That has a lot of luxury, but they only make 275 of those, so you can't really get those. But back to the Alpina B7. It's got the same updates that the regular 7 Series would get with the interior, the new iDrive, the new styling changes. Again, I think the Alpina treatment looks a lot better. They debuted these very beautiful press pictures and like this pastel looking blue. There's like the signature Alpina green. I saw pictures of one of those. It looks really nice. It's their full gigantic luxury sedan. With the full Alpina treatment, it's very, very expensive, 140 grand, but you also get bragging rights that you have the world's fastest sedan. Staying with BMW, we have the brand new X3M and X4M. So those cars have been, those trucks, SUVs, crossovers, have been spotted under camo. They're finally out now officially. For the first time, you can get a competition package on an M SUV. The X3M and X4M will offer a competition. That's where you get the upgraded horsepower. It's got a brand new S58 3-liter twin turbo inline 6. This engine is derived off the B58 that's found in other current BMW 3-liter inline 6 vehicles. That's the same engine found in the Supra. The S58 makes more power. In standard non-competition trim, it's 473 horsepower and 442 pound-feet of torque. If you go up to competition, it jumps to 503 horsepower. That thing, the competition one, will do 177 miles an hour, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds flat. It's an 8-speed automatic transmission. As an M model, they get upgraded wheels and upgraded brakes, and the fascia is different, all the typical stuff you would expect. I thought it was really cool. It's all-wheel drive, but it sends all the power to the rear wheels until it detects slip on an SUV. So that would be really nice. I am willing to bet money. I will bet money that the G20-based M3 will have this powertrain. It will have an S58, which is cool to make over 500 horsepower in competition trim. And I'm also thinking that it will have this similar all-wheel drive system where it sends power to the rear wheels. You can probably have like a drift mode like in the M5. And it will also send power to the front wheels if it detects slip and it needs it for traction. Pricing wise, the competition package is $7,000 more, which is a lot more than on the M2 and M3 and M4. I believe on the M2, M3, M4, competition package is like $4,000 to $4,500. So $7,000 actually stands to be a bigger margin price delta. It's about 70 grand, I think, for the regular one, and then so if you option it up for the competition, let's say 77. The X4 usually would make it swoopier one. It'll cost a little bit more. I think that one's right around 74, 75 grand. It's right up there with the competition of the GLC 63 AMG. You got the Porsche Macan, the Macan Turbo, those vehicles there. So it's cool that they're doing this. People are moving more and more towards crossovers and SUVs, so it makes sense they're making hot versions. I'm glad they're doing interesting things with them. That's quick. 0 to 60 in 4 seconds for, that's as fast as I was just driving an M2 competition like a couple hours ago. That thing was rated 0 to 60 in 4 seconds flat with the DCT. So that's really impressive that they're doing that. But I think my biggest takeaway, because I don't personally, I don't love crossovers, and I don't think I would buy an X3M, but I would buy an M3 with that engine, that powertrain combination with all-wheel drive. I definitely would do that. Lastly, let's circle back to Land Rover. There is a brand new engine announced in that lineup. So Land Rover has actually been doing a lot of stuff this week. There is a straight six from the Ingenium. I'm not actually sure how to pronounce it, but it's the Land Rover family of modular engines. It's a turbocharged and electrically supercharged engine mated with a mild hybrid system. I believe it's the 48 volt. So it is kind of complicated. It's got a lot of stuff going on there, but it's from the modular families debuting in what they call the Range Rover Sport HST. This is probably going to replace the V6s and the full Jag Land Rover family. Inline 6s are inherently more balanced and more smooth than V6s, so that's great. This thing is also going to make very good power. Initially, the first debut is going to be 395 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. In that Range Rover Sport, they say to do 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds, which is pretty good. It's going to get pretty good fuel economy with that mild hybrid. So that electrically driven supercharger can spin up really quickly, which helps eliminate that torque gap. So you really won't have much of a turbo lag with that engine at all. And it'll recoup electricity, power, energy from deceleration, from braking, and use that to benefit to boost your torque power and also help your fuel economy. So I think it's really cool to see that. I'm sure it's going to propagate across the entire Jag Land Rover lineup. They've been talking about this engine for a while, but there is a new inline 6 from Jaguar Land Rover, and it's hybridized, and I think that's really exciting. They've made some pretty cool inline 6s. Think back a long time ago to the ones you find in Jags and stuff like that. So that is the top news that I looked up and saw for the week that I thought was most interesting. I hope you guys learned something. Comment below what you think was the coolest. Discuss, what do you think? Do you think the new M3 is going to be all-wheel drive? We'll have the S58. Who is buying a Bugatti Chiron ANS 110, whatever the hell they call that thing? And I kind of want a Range Rover Velar SV Autobiography Dynamic Edition. Whew, despite the absurdly long name. Hope you guys like this video. I'm hoping to do these about once a week. Probably do it at the end of the week, kind of wrap up the coolest car news of the week. If you have any questions, please comment below. Thanks for watching.